month. Plus, with SelectQuote same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-885-9500. That's 1-800-885-9500. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-885-9500. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
From the Nashville Sports Radio Media Complex, this is the George Plaster Show. Call George now at 615-844-5600 and online at WNSR.com. And now, George Plaster.
Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown, Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Kelly Holcomb, along with young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in on what has turned out to be the hottest day of 2024. It is 92 degrees at the moment. Expect more of the same for the rest of the weekend. There is not a drop of rain in sight. And if anybody's noticed, we haven't had any rain in almost a week. So there's your little weather forecast from the Fordyce Center in Bellevue, where we have a full menu today. But let's get to the important issue of the day. Billy Derrick gone. Took off for the big ATL. And in his place today is Billy Jones. If you're watching the show by way of podcast, if you're listening on radio, it won't really, you won't notice anything. But Billy Jones handled our coverage of the SEC baseball tournament a couple of weeks ago down at the Hoover Met, did a great job. So what advice did Billy give you?
Well, you know, all I got from him was don't let George start feeling too good about himself. That was all I got for Billy.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is this the first time hearing about
I don't know. Maybe he wanted to keep it secret.
Don't let
keep it
George
under the table.
Start feeling good about himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't let him get up there feeling too good. But I must say, you look great. You're purple today.
Mm-hmm.
Stripes look good.
Yeah. We'll see if Billy's with us on Monday. Very seldom do you have that go down on a Monday. Normally they do it to you on a Friday.
But this is a special exception.
Well, it could be. I mean, this kind
you might have to wire in down to Atlanta.
This kind of attitude could get him in a lot of trouble. Okay, so you're monitoring right now the Virginia-North Carolina game. So let's just make it official in the update, which, of course, has a sponsor.
Yes. Today's update brought to you, as always, by Lori Burnett Leland. You can find her online at mortgageladyyusa.com or reach her by phone at 615-969-4350. Out in the first game of the day in Omaha, coming down to the wire, bottom of the ninth, one away, runner on third, tied at 2, North Carolina, trying to find a walk-off. It would be their third of the tournament. That's, again, game one in Omaha. Tennessee and FSU set to go later tonight.
Okay, you ever been to Omaha?
I have. I've been twice. Once at Rosenblatt, once at TD Ameritrade. Yeah.
Wow.
It is.
I never saw Rosenblatt.
It's beautiful. And there was something about going when I went. I was 9 and 10 when I went. Just something so magical about that place. And, you know, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. The city, the way they rallied around that event, it's so much fun.
That's a big deal to those folks.
Absolutely.
You know, it came up for vote, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago, and the NCAA did a smart thing to keep it there because those folks have earned the right to keep it there. Omaha is where it ought to be. So here's what I noticed. First of all, whatever they call the stadium, it might as well be Mammoth Cave. You know, most of the college stadiums have pretty short porches. And so you see a lot of homers hit. If you're waiting for that in Omaha, you could be waiting a while. It is truly Mammoth Cave And today the wind's blowing in and nothing is getting out.
Yeah, they talked to Brian Cotter about that, who's the head coach at UVA, and he said he sat down his pitcher before the game, and he said, be as aggressive as you've been all year. You know, really, you could throw as hard as you want. Not a lot of stuff's going to get past you. So we see that early on. We'll see if that continues. Tennessee's kind of had to learn the hard way because of how much they rely on the long ball. Their first 2 trips to Omaha haven't gone according to plan, only 1 win in those 2 trips. We'll see if it's different this time around. And we have our 2 starting pitchers for tonight if we want to get into that. Chris Stamos going to get the nod for Tennessee.
Left-hander.
Yes. And the way that's kind of been rolling is we have a walk-off North Carolina, a single into left field by Vance Honeycutt, ACC Player of the Year. And North Carolina wins 3-2.
Okay, so that's the first final of the College World Series. North Carolina, if you open 2-0, you've got a huge advantage on the field. The teams that open 2-0 are cooking with gas, period.
Yeah. You get 2 days off if you're on this side of the bracket, which is also so nice for all that rest you can get for your bullpen. So that means Tennessee, if they win, will face UNC. If they lose, will face UVA on Sunday.
Here's a thought. To me, the conditions in this game that's coming up, Tennessee, Florida State, to me, it neutralizes both of them. Florida State lived by the long ball, in particular in that short right field porch in Tallahassee. If I had to guess, it's a lot like this game. Low scoring, 1-run affair. The team that can move a runner over late, the team that can get a sac fly. It's stuff they're not used to.
I think you're right. It's going to be about timely hitting. And, you know, we've talked about the way that Tennessee has kind of batted their way through the regionals and the super regionals. Well, Florida State's done the same thing.
Yeah.
And they've been kind of able to sail through at home through the way that their offense has exploded. They're going to rely on Jamie Arnold, who's a very young arm today. He's their ace. He's been awesome this year. But, you know, this is a big stage. And we'll see if he's up for it against a really powerful Tennessee offense. And can Tennessee be patient offensively, right? Can they find ways to just keep the line moving? Don't have to jack it as far as you can. Just find a way to keep the line moving. I think that's how they're successful tonight.
I'm going to be real interested to see which one of those 2 teams adjusts. Tennessee should, for God's sakes, they've been there twice. They know exactly what they're getting into. And to me, Tony Vitello maybe has to change how they operate. Because this is not 15-9.
I think you're right. You know, it's just there aren't shootouts in Omaha the way they are in most ballparks, and I think Tennessee's going to have to understand that. And I think the main thing is to not get frustrated. You know, I think they've done a better job of this year trying to keep more level heads in the way that they, you know, approach their at bats, approach their games. I think that's the key tonight is, you know, if things don't get well for you early, you don't need to start throwing your helmets around. Don't need to be throwing bats. Just stay in there. Keep taking good at bats. You know, keep making Jamie Arnold work for these outs and see where you are after 7-8 innings.
U.S. Open's going on. What's the leaderboard look like?
Yes, it is. Up at the top, still Patrick Cantlay at 5 under. Ludwig Ahlberg joins him at 5 under as well. We got DeChambeau, Dietrich, Pavon. All at 4 under. Rory right behind at 3 under, trying to win for the first time in 10 years. Tiger Woods, 2 bogeys on the back 9. He's now probably 2, maybe 3 strokes away from the cut at 6 over. And Scotty Scheffler at 5 over as well. He's finished today, so we'll see. But I don't think that cut line's going to move. And with 4 over today, he might be out of the field.
Scheffler, Tiger, both shaky.
That's correct.
Wow. That's some star power that NBC will wish was there.
Yes.
Because, in all honesty, the 2 guys at the top, Bryson DeChambeau is the biggest name on what you put out there, and Rory McIlroy. NBC would have loved to have had Tiger and Scheffler.
Especially Father's Day weekend, you know, you want to have people hunker down and maybe watch some golf. And, you know, I think this certainly hurts you a little bit, but we'll see. it's just such a challenging course. And it challenges you in a way that a lot of other courses don't, and that you have to be so particular about where you put the ball in those approach shots.
Yeah, because what it sounds like is there's certain areas where if you hit the green, it goes off. If that happened to me, I'd just say, look, screw it. You know, I'm not good enough to begin with, and I'm not fighting that.
Pick up the bag and I'll come back. Yeah.
See ya.
Might be a lot of putting onto the green for me. I don't know. Maybe a little Texas wedge action. But
this doesn't happen at Harpeth Hills.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But, you know, that's kind of what the U.S. Open has been known for, and what they've tried to establish is making sure that they are the toughest major year in and year out. And so far through about, a round and a half, looks like that's certainly been the case.
What else?
Let's go out to Edmonton last night, where the Oilers were able to stave off the Panthers were able to stave off an Oilers comeback that had plaster bet of the day implications.
Yeah, whatever.
32 saves for Bobrovsky. I mean, he has all but stolen this series by himself.
Me. Oh, he has
been unreal.
He has been lights out.
And boy, he
makes a save late in that game, we could still be playing right now.
Yeah. And, you talk about, George, ratings, and you talk about TV executives. You think those people at the NHL aren't kicking themselves right now? With the finals likely ending in 4 games, You got the best player in hockey. You could have had the solo stage for about a week and a half, and you get this instead.
And Florida can be a little dull. They make it very difficult to get, into the offensive zone. They clog it. This has not been the most, how do I say this, aesthetically pleasing. And the shame of it for the NHL is this was their chance to take advantage of a dud that the NBA, at least so far, has put out there.
Absolutely. You got Connor McDavid in a finals for the first time. Now you kind of have ESPN in the deal, which allows you to advertise during NBA games, during SportsCenter. And, to lay this out there, I think you just got to be kicking yourselves if you're the NHL. This would mark the first time since 95, if both series were to end in sweeps, that we've had a double sweep in the NBA and the NHL finals.
Wow. 95.
Rockets with Hakeem and Clyde beat the Magic, and then the Devils with Claude Lemieux take care of the Red Wings in 4 games. It's only happened 2 prior times before this.
Now there's a little more storyline to that than that.
That was the lockout year, right?
The Devils, had they not won the Stanley Cup, were headed to Nashville. Man, I covered that story a bunch because the rumors started getting out of what was going on, and they were headed here, and they won the Stanley Cup, which nobody saw coming, but whatever. Good for them. Stay where you are.
Do you think there's any chance they win that if it wasn't for the short season with the lockout where they only played 40 games and got in?
I didn't know the first thing about hockey in 95.
You just thought maybe there's a chance.
I knew nothing. I knew that I was covering something about the New Jersey Devils. And then the next rumor was the Hartford Whalers. And that one sort of disappeared. And then we ended up with an expansion team. And I think all things said it was the perfect way for it to happen here.
Absolutely. And, when did the Whalers move? Do you know, to Carolina?
Oh, gosh. I don't remember.
Okay. I was curious if it was post 2000 or pre that. But, yeah, I didn't know that about the Devils were talking about.
Oh, yeah. The Devils were coming.
The other one was 83. Moses Malone and Dr. J and the Sixers swept the Lakers.
Or as it's called, fo. Moses had trouble saying 4.
And then that was the same summer that the Islanders swept Wayne Gretzky and the Edmonton Oilers.
Fo.
Fo.
We done?
We can't be. We can talk. Jose Abreu got released by the Astros.
We wish him the very best.
Still owed $30 million by the team.
Yeah. Life has not been good for him the last couple of years.
No, it has not.
Okay, let me tell people what we've got. Joe Healy is going to join us after the break from D1 Baseball. They do a terrific job. Boy, if you're a baseball fan, they're really good. We'll talk to him about playing this College World Series in what I will call Mammoth Cave. The place is big enough to begin with. When the wind's blowing in, you're not getting anything out. What does that mean tonight for Tennessee and Florida State? Then at 5 o'clock, 5:03 to be exact, the commissioner, man, this is weird to say this, Jeff Fisher will join us, and we'll talk about what life as a commissioner has been like over the last 3 weeks. Does the AFL, the Arena Football League, have a chance to survive? Because after all, a bunch of the cities pulled out before he ever got in. We'll open the phones around 5:30, see what's on y'all's mind. So our first break comes at 4:18. You're listening to the George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
Nashville, get ready for the greatest show on turf. Electrifying, high-octane, non-stop spring football action. Starting at only $30. Don't miss the season opener this April 27th at Municipal Auditorium.
Hi, I'm Jeff Fisher. The Nashville Cats are bringing arena football back to Nashville.
Grab your tickets now at thenashvillecats.com and be part of the action.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5688. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up, 615-793-9500, or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
you're just joining us, North Carolina has eked out a 3-2 come-from-behind win against Virginia in the opening game of the College World Series. In about an hour and 45 minutes, Tennessee and Florida State will go at it in Omaha. And with that in mind, we say hello to Joe Healy from D1 Baseball to talk a little bit about Omaha and the whole experience. Joe, thank you for taking the time to do this.
Sure, no problem. Happy to do it. Best time of year. Love talking about the College World Series, so absolutely happy to join you.
So tell me, how do the coaches feel about the fact that in the regular season in most of these parks, balls fly, and all of a sudden they get to the national title and it's a totally different game? How do you think that plays out for them?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they love it just because it does feel like two different games sometimes. So I do think, as pragmatic as coaches have to be, oftentimes they've just resigned to it. It kind of is what it is, right? Can't do a whole lot about it. But I do also think there is some subset of coaches, and I'm not a coach, but I do fall into this category, that do appreciate that, look, you have to play a different type of baseball here to win. You can't just slug your way to it and have a bunch of big boppers, and you have to be able to pitch when you get here. You have to be able to play defense. You have to have some athleticism because not only is it a big park with relative to home runs, but also you have to have rangy outfielders who can go get balls in the gap. So as frustrating as it must be to build a team for one type of baseball and then come here and play a different kind of baseball, I do like that it does highlight the teams that have more balance than others.
So when it comes to Tennessee and Florida State, is it basically a wash given that both teams have relied so much on the homer?
I think so, generally speaking. Now, one thing I do think Tennessee does well is they've got power to all fields. So they can they're not a situation where sometimes you see teams that are out here just trying to yank balls, or teams that are trying to go back up through the middle, and the ball's just going to die if you hit the ball in the air to center field. I mean, that's just asking to have a bunch of outs pile up on you. So I do think the ability for the balls to hit the ball all over the field, I think, works well for them. But yeah, generally speaking, I think it ends up kind of being a little bit of a wash for those two teams from a power standpoint. The team that's able to make the best solid contact, hit line drives, make things happen on the bases, to me, that feels like the differentiator between these two teams, because otherwise, if you're swinging from your heels out here, we just saw a bunch of flyouts in the first game of the day that looked good off the bat. So I can tell you clearly that the ball is not necessarily going to get out here unless you're really tagging it. So they're going to have to do some different things to score runs.
To win it all, it's about a 10-day deal. Is the key who has the best fourth and fifth starting pitchers?
I think more than that. So I think you're on the right track, but I think more than that, it's about how deep is your bullpen. Because with the format being, if you stay in the winner's bracket, you kind of get every other day off most of the way through. So, you really can bring back an ace for that fourth game you're in, right? Or sometimes even your third game if it's spaced out enough and you feel good about it. So for me, it's more about how well does your bullpen bounce back so that you can use the same guys basically every other day and not have to reach deep into your bullpen for somebody who hasn't pitched in 6 weeks, which sometimes can happen in situations like this. So yes, the starting pitching is key here, but I think the bullpen is even more important.
Let me go specifically to Tennessee. They've been here twice. They have not won either time. Number one, does the experience give them an advantage, or does it create a mental baggage of, we got to win it this time?
I think it can create some baggage over time. I don't think they're there yet, just because it's been such a small amount of time they've been on this run, right? It's 3 of the last 4 years, but that's not that much history. I mean, Florida State came here how many times under Mike Martin and never won a national title. And I think eventually there was a little baggage there. So not yet is what I would say for Tennessee. And I do think the experience can help. You look back through the history of the College World Series, and with a few exceptions, Coastal Carolina in 2016 comes to mind, Fresno State back in 2008. But for the most part, a team's first team that gets to Omaha, or first couple of teams that get to Omaha, are not really the ones that win the national title. It's that third or fourth team that you get back to Omaha as a program that starts to have a better chance to win the whole thing, because you do have to kind of learn how to win here. So I'd be shocked if Tennessee doesn't acquit itself a lot better this time around than it has the first couple of times. But at this point, I still think the experience is a positive, not yet something that kind of hangs around their neck every time they show up here.
Joe Healy from D1 Baseball is with us from Omaha. You can hear in the background some of the press conference kind of stuff going on after Carolina's win. Joe, is it as simple as saying, okay, the team that is the one that's tailor-made for this park is Kentucky, because they're the one team in the SEC that didn't really do it by way of we're just going to bludgeon you?
Yeah, I think they're certainly set up well. Now, what I like about this team, though, is if they need that, they can do that more so than they have in past years. They do have some guys who can run the ball out of the ballpark more so than last year's team, for example. But your larger point, I think, is absolutely right on. You know, they can score runs by making things happen on the bases. They're a great bunting team. They tend to hit the ball on the nose, a lot of hard contact. They get something up and down their lineup. I think the other thing that works to their advantage in this ballpark goes back to what we talked about early in our conversation, which is that they're not really a pitching staff that's going to rack up a bunch of strikeouts. They don't have big-time stuff. They don't have guys with, you know, the nastiest breaking balls in the country. They throw a lot of strikes, though, and they give up a lot of contact, and they're trying to make it soft contact. But this ballpark allows you to make some mistakes, have the ball hit hard, and then have outfielders go and run it down because, oh, by the way, Kentucky also has an athletic outfield that plays defense very well. So I think it works well for them that they don't feel like they have to be perfect on the mound, whereas there are some places they go, some of the SEC ballparks that are a little bit smaller, a little more offensive, they kind of felt like they had to be perfect to be able to keep the offense off the board enough to win games. I don't think that's going to be a problem here. So what we talked about with Tennessee kind of applies to Kentucky. This is their first time here. How do they handle that? But in terms of the players on the field and the roster makeup, I do think they're in a good position to win some games here.
Help me with this. The old joke in Lexington used to be, and understand, I used to go up there a ton when I was Vandy's announcer. The old joke was, here are the athletic priorities in that city. Kentucky basketball, followed by Keeneland, followed by Kentucky football, and Kentucky baseball might as well have been in somebody's rear view mirror. Nobody ever talked about it. Talk to me about what this guy has done to get them to this level, because it is remarkable.
Yeah, really impressive stuff, especially when you consider, and look, I don't think he'd mind me saying this, they went into last year in 2023 season, basically that coaching staff was coaching for their jobs. So not only to get it turned around just based on Kentucky's history, but also to get it turned around based on the job pressure they were feeling is really, really impressive. Nick Mingione brought a really good coaching staff together, and they got it done. They outside the box too. I mean, they're in a conference where they're playing against Jack Caglione and Christian Moore and Billy Amick and, Nate, Jace Laviolette. And they don't really have those types of guys. They've got good players, but they don't have those types of superstars. And yet here they are as the number 2 team in the country. I think the other thing that's huge is they built that new ballpark in Lexington at a time when the program wasn't, I don't want to say deserving of it, but just the program wasn't up to the level of what that ballpark is. But they took a bet on, hey, if we build this place and then the program gets better, like this could be a special place to play college baseball. And they're right. I mean, you look at last weekend in the Super Regionals, they're pushing 8,000 in that stadium. And that's not LSU, that's not Arkansas, but it's not far off from those places. And Kentucky, as you mentioned, is just not a place where you expect that level of support. I was there during the regular season against Tennessee, and there were great crowds there too. So, does it last? We'll see, but for right now, there's a lot more excitement locally for Kentucky baseball than there really has ever been.
Explain Florida to me. When I saw them live here in April against Vandy, I came away going, they're a bopper in Caglione, but not much else. What has changed since then?
I think the pitching has grown up is number one. They had a lot of freshman arms they were leaning on early in the season, and as sometimes happens with freshman arms, they weren't working out. But as the season's gone on, I think to their credit, instead of saying like, we just can't use these guys, we got to put them aside, let's use somebody else, they just kept running them out there. And it's still not perfect. Liam Peterson, their best freshman pitcher, had a tough start in the Super Regional last weekend. So it's still not exactly what you want it to be, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was in, March and April. So that's one. And I think the other thing is just that they're getting contributions up and down the lineup in a way they weren't earlier this season. Sometimes it almost felt like the position players looking around waiting for Jack Caglione to save them and do something special. And sometimes he would, right? And then they'd win the game. But now they're getting a little bit more from more of the lineup, and you can still pitch to them. A lot of strikeouts in that lineup, especially outside of Caglione. So you can still pitch to them a little bit, I think. But talent was never the issue with this team. We never really looked around and said, boy, Florida's just not talented enough. Like they just weren't consistent enough. Now that talent is living up to its potential a little bit, and here they are.
Joe, as the biggest Atlanta Braves fan and a baseball fan in general, I'll make the claim that the Clemson catch a week ago is as good a play as I have ever seen. And, of course, they showed you the Willie Mays deal with it. Have you ever seen one better?
Hard to say that I have, right? I mean, on a couple levels. One is he, first off, really had no business getting to that ball. I mean, the speed it takes to basically turn your back to the plate and take off and get to the spot where the ball was going to be is extremely impressive, one. Even if he'd caught that in stride like that, extremely impressive. The second thing is he got turned around. He looked the wrong way and then had to spin around and course correct and take a better route. And then not only is he catching it over his head as a basket catch, but he kind of trapped it against his body. It was almost like a receiver that was running downfield on just a go route, and he had to find the ball and corral it in. So there's a reason why he's talked about as a guy who could be the number one overall pick in the draft next year. I mean, he's that level of athlete in the outfield. He's a good hitter. He's got more power than you think he does. Just a really impressive guy. And yeah, I mean, if you told me that it's, the best catch that's ever existed, I certainly not going to argue with anybody because it took my breath away. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, it was incredible. I want to throw this last thing out before I hit you with one last Tennessee question. So we've got a field of 8 that's SEC and ACC. I get why the Big Ten isn't there. That they don't get a lick of good weather earlier than May. Number one, why is the West nowhere to be found in this? And secondly, do you ever hear anything that says, let's push baseball season back? Let's have this tournament shortly after July 4th so the Big Ten types are more ready to really compete on a national level?
So to answer your second question first, there has been. There's just never been enough agreement on what exactly that looks like and what that means, because that's really complicated. And it doesn't help the fact that the power center in college baseball right now is in the southeast part of the country, and they don't really have the weather problems. Like, is it not great sometimes? Sure, but they're not willing to blow up the calendar just to get a little bit better weather when clearly they're doing fine. So I think that's one of the issues, but there have been various proposals through the years. Most recently in 2020, during the pandemic, a group led by then Michigan coach, now Clemson coach, Eric Bakich, put together a proposal for a new model for college baseball that involved pushing the season back. And look, I'm a proponent generally, just generally of the idea before we talk about the details, because for the reasons you stated. Look, I lived in the Midwest for a few years and covered Big Ten baseball for a few years, and like, those fans care. They get a bad rap, but I love baseball. I don't want to sit outside when it's 45 degrees watching baseball. I just don't, no matter how much I love it. And so, look, and I always say that Iowa fans would show up to watch their team play chess if you told them they were going to be playing, another Big Ten team in chess. So you're telling me they wouldn't show up for baseball if the weather was good? I just don't buy that. So I think it could be a great baseball league, but the calendar doesn't work for them. Your first question about the West Coast is the biggest answer is investment, just a lack of investment. The facilities are not very good. Places you think probably have good facilities in the West Coast actually probably don't. UCLA is not it's a beautiful area, but it's not a great facility. Cal State Fullerton, not a great facility with all the national titles they've won. So that's one, but it's investment beyond that too. Coaching salaries, assistant coaching salaries, recruiting budgets. And furthermore, with the SEC being as good as it is, you're now seeing the West Coast bleeding talent into the Southeast. I think about Arkansas has a pitcher named Gabe Gackle from Southern California who probably should be at UCLA or in a different era at USC. But he said he wanted to play SEC baseball in front of the SEC-type crowds. And so now he's at Arkansas instead of on the West Coast. So There are a lot of different reasons. I mean, we could sit here all night and probably talk about a million different reasons the West Coast isn't on par with what it used to be. But the biggest one for me is just they got passed up big time in terms of investment, and now they're really paying for it.
Okay, as you can imagine, in Nashville, Tennessee, we got a lot of Tennessee fans either watching this podcast or listening to the radio simulcast. In your opinion, does Tennessee win it all?
Yes, that's my pick.
Really?
Understanding, of course, that, look, I mean, who the heck knows, right? If you and I could predict with that level of accuracy, we'd be living in Vegas and, gambling for a living, right? But that's my pick, because I think I really like what they've done with the pitching staff this year. Look, it looks different. They don't have Chase Dollander. They don't have Chase Burns. But they have Drew Bean, a veteran, super steady veteran. They're piecing together a piggyback situation with Stamos and Kazi that's worked really, really well. They've got an older guy in Xander Sechrist as their third guy. Frank Anderson's just done a masterful job with that pitching staff putting it together. And they say there's a thing in college baseball. I don't know how much I buy into it, but it is a thing that it's typically not your most talented team that wins you your first national title. It tends to be a little bit of a scrappier, hard-nosed team that has dealt with the disappointment of the postseason. UCLA did not win a national title with Garrett Cole and Trevor Bauer in its rotation, for example. It was the year after.
Wow.
So if you go by that metric, like this Tennessee team checks a lot of those boxes. So I like their balance. I like this roster makeup, and I like that they're a team that, as we talked about earlier, has had to deal with getting beat up here. And they're probably sick of it, right? And so that's my pick. I've got them playing NC State in the finals, and I like Tennessee to win it all.
Joe, I'm envious. I've been there one time in 15 when Virginia beat Vandy in the third and final game. It was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. The Omaha thing, I thought going in there, yeah, it's nice, but it isn't that nice. Well, yes, it is. And so I am very envious of you. Enjoy the next 10 days, and thank you for taking the time to come on.
Happy to do it. I agree with you. Any baseball fans out here who have not been there, it's a bucket list item for me, whether your team is here or not. It's a wonderful 10 days to be here, and I consider myself lucky I get to do it every day. I don't lose sight of that I'm extremely lucky to be here, and I appreciate you having me on. If you need me later this week, I'm here for you.
Hey, I appreciate that. We're doing child's play. As I always tell people, we're the toy department of life.
That's right.
Joe, thank you.
Thank you.
Joe Healy from D1 Baseball. He covers it year-round. It is really interesting to watch the growing interest in this thing. And after the break, we'll talk a little bit more about that, because it really is totally different than when I was growing up. A lot of things are different from when I was growing up. You're listening to the George Plaster Show. We actually have the internet on 95.9 FM. As you might be able to tell, my buddy Stan Harrison, he's an Alabama Crimson Tide fan, but he's actually here to talk about Apple Collision Centers.
Hello, Middle Tennessee. I'm Stan Harrison, CEO of Apple Collision Centers, and we understand the stress it causes in having an automobile accident. We can help you ease the stress of the auto body repair process at our 3 locations. We're conveniently located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. We've got rental cars available, we have PDR technicians available, and we have windshield technicians available. Please stop by one of our places and see us if you need our services.
And by the way, when you come in his office, this just in, he's a sports fan.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
Your chance to win. The Tennessee Lottery. Game-changing fun. Please play responsibly. NASCAR is used with express permission. NASCAR LLC is not a sponsor of this promotion.
Under the category of what did college baseball used to be like, I brought it up before. When I was a student at Vandy, and I know some of you think that's before, before the Boston Tea Party, but seriously, it was basically 3 metal bleachers behind home plate, and then a little group that sat on top of the first base dugout. And that was McGugin Field in the early 80s. And really, there wasn't much of a need for more than that. Now, Billy, you've come from a school that isn't exactly knocking it dead in college baseball. What's baseball at Missouri like?
George, not much better than what you just described to me. Missouri's still, I think, a little bit in that Stone Age. It's a 3,000-seater stadium with metal bleachers and 1 row of seats behind home plate. But listen, I was talking to Billy about this the other day, and I was sharing a graphic with him. Every other SEC school has invested at least $15 million in the last decade and a half in their baseball program. Like, when you think about the amount of money that these schools have poured into baseball, it's incredible. And you see the results on the field. Interesting stat the other day, Vanderbilt and Mississippi State now tied for the second longest super regional drought in the SEC. Missouri has the longest. Missouri has not been to the super regional since 2000, but the 2 teams tied for the second longest super regional drought are Vanderbilt and Mississippi State, who met in the College World Series 2 years ago.
Wow.
That's wild.
So here's what it seems like to me. And I'm going to take a really cynical approach to this because for the most part, most of these schools on the SEC level have been awash in cash. Now, they'll deny it, but when you get $50 million a year, cash is not all that difficult. Most of them had already built up their football stadiums, and in some cases were decreasing the size of them. And so now the arms race, to me, feels like it's centered on baseball.
Yeah, I guess it's just kind of natural that's that next frontier. And back to the Missouri point, Missouri just finished before the beginning of last season a new indoor practice facility to kind of be able to be on par with the rest of the league. Now they're undergoing more stadium reconstructions for football, so just kind of a step behind most of the league. But yeah, most of them, it felt like in the early 2000s, it kind of built these new basketball arenas, so there's not really a need to furnish those up to what would be a brand new level. Like, if you've seen Baylor's arena, like something kind of like that, like a fancy new baseball or basketball arena. But I think baseball is bringing in a ton of revenue in the spring. And you think about the amount of games you can sell tickets to. I mean, these teams play 30, 40 home games.
Sure.
And you're keeping that fan base engaged, from March till June if you make it all the way to the World Series.
Dr. Detroit, the floor is yours. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, George. I hope you know that I'm excited that I'm well overdue for a nice road trip to vent, clear my stressful mind, and see some Braves and Tigers baseball upcoming this week.
Is that in Detroit or in Atlanta?
Atlanta.
Ah. Actually, I work during the week.
Hey, it's a shame. I was going to write you a doctor's excuse from the good doctor.
Hey, do it. Do it.
Hey,
Let's see if it works.
Hey, but real quick, if I can throw one more topic up. I'm going to let you voice your opinion first, George. Oh, Captain, my captain. This Caitlin Clark, I cannot get it out of my mind. It is stinging me. I'll just go ahead and tell you, do you know if she did participate in the Olympics, how it would up her game, up her skills, and clear her mind and make her even better than what she was in college? And I'll let you hear the feedback.
Okay, the best excuse they could have used was simply that she's coming off a long, grueling college season. Then she goes right into the pro stuff in Indiana, and that mentally she's fried. That would have been the best thing. But to sit there and give us this, she doesn't have the experience level, is a crock. First of all, she is the hottest ticket going. I mean, and I do think, listen, I know they're all denying it, but there is some jealousy. There appears to be in that league some, we're going to show her who mama is. Notice I didn't go daddy. I changed it. I do think that there are some issues that a commissioner needs to step in that league and say, look, cut the crap. She is the best meal ticket we've got. I mean, if you look around the WNBA, I don't remember all these places being packed. And all of a sudden, she's brought that. She's plenty good enough. This whole she doesn't have experience is a pile of dog doo. I cleaned that up pretty good, didn't I?
If I'm still on the air, well said. Bravo.
And you are.
Bravo. I mean, well said. No, I mean, George, that was brilliant. I mean, you took words out of my mouth. I mean, why wouldn't it? But you know what? Somebody in the organization needs to step in and say, hey, we can't allow this. Okay, this girl's to promote us even to higher, even TV ratings and all that, and even franchise, branching out other franchise for other towns to grow this WNBA game. I go, she is a phenomenal, a once-in-a-lifetime Healy's Comet, and no, bravo, George. God bless you, man. Hey, I'll call you from, hey, what is it, SunTrust Bank?
It's now Truist.
What is it?
It's Truist.
Oh, so, but it did open up as
which I guess
SunTrust,
has
right?
interest compounded daily. I have no idea.
God bless you, man. It's good talking to you.
In all fairness, some of the WNBA players have acted like blockheads.
You're not kidding. I mean, it's been a virtual, feels like a hazing almost of Caitlin Clark in this first year. She's just been knocked around and beaten and bruised. And listen, I understand, you hear the talk all season in the offseason about what she's bringing to the league. I get wanting to go out there and beat her on the court, but to go out there and just bruise her the way they've been doing it, these hard fouls, these knockarounds, and to her credit, she's handled it brilliantly. I'm so impressed with the way she's gone about it, but I mean,
she is wise but beyond her years.
I mean, come on. What are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
I'll tell you what we're doing. We're talking sports. After the break, we'll go stat of the day, which I guess today is me having to do this solo. Some of the questions recently, we could have been here till midnight. We weren't going to get them right. But I'm going to try today in an upset to get one of these on the button. And then Commissioner Jeff Fisher of the American is that what it's called? Arena Football League. I tried to put an American in there. Anyway, either way, he's going to join us to start the 5 o'clock hour. Get ready. We got plenty more coming as you listen to the George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM.
Still getting some attention. It's gotten even heavier in the last few minutes up through Madison on 65 northbound. Working your way on that ramp there to Vietnam Vets, headed out towards Sumner County, Hendersonville. It's still running slow south of Nashville on 65 down into Spring Hill area. Lots of radar up and down I-24 in Rutherford County. Hey, Princess Hot Chicken has new items on that brand new menu. Check them out this weekend. PrincessHotChicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in a car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
It's time for Stat of the Day, presented by John English Antique Sports and Cards at Shelbyville, Tennessee, 204 East Depot Street. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5 p.m., Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Give them a call, 931-492-4304. George, Tennessee plays Florida State in the College World Series tonight. The Vols are looking to not continue their streak of losing the first game. When was the last time the Vols won their first round game? Bonus point if you can name who they beat.
Oh, Lord. I'm going to go back. I believe the last time they won was in the opening game was in 1995, and I haven't got even remotely a clue who they beat. I'm going 95. Wow. Oh, yeah.
Hit the nail on the head.
This is called me clapping for me.
How about it?
How desperate is it when you have to applaud yourself?
It's a shame we don't have other people here who seemingly should be clapping for you for digging that one out. That was impressive.
Listen, if you think I'm worried about what they think, I mean, look, a victory is a victory. This is a victory. Clemson, wow.
Yeah.
Notice who is at first base. Hall of Famer Todd Helton. Todd Helton was the Tennessee quarterback who got hurt that allowed for Peyton Manning to play quarterback as a freshman out at UCLA.
Yeah, I've seen highlights from that game. Went on, what was that, the third or fourth game of the year? It's early on, right?
You know, that's a good question. I don't remember. We may have to look that up.
There we go. Maybe stat of the day for Monday.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Look, I'm on a winning streak. Don't botch this for me.
Keep it easy.
So let me kind of tell people what we've got coming in the 5 o'clock hour. Former Titans head coach Jeff Fisher, now the commissioner of the Arena Football League, will join us to start the hour. Around 5:30, we'll wide open the phones. And I want to get this question answered by everybody, even if it's not why you're calling. Is Tennessee going to win it all? They're a little more than an hour away from beginning that title run when they take on Florida State in Omaha. The music not only is Van Halen's, but it's also mine. Going back about 30 years, that has been the theme music. You're listening to The George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM.
On air and online, Sports Radio WNSR, Brentwood, Nashville.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The G7 summit in Italy now in the books, and Pope Francis making history, becoming the first pontiff to address leaders at the summit. The Pope choosing to focus on AI. Here's ABC's Patrick Revel.
The Pope led a group discussion around artificial intelligence where the world leaders listened to a speech by Pope Francis. He was basically speaking about the opportunities but also the threats that artificial intelligence poses for humanity, including also calling for a ban on autonomous weapons.
President Biden also met with the Pope privately at the summit. The Supreme Court invalidated a Trump-era ban on bump stocks. The devices increase the semi-automatic's rapid-fire capabilities. Justices say the ATF exceeded its authority by issuing that ban. A federal judge ordered Alex Jones's personal assets be liquidated. The conspiracy theorist owes $1.5 billion to Sandy Hook families for making false claims about the mass shooting. This is ABC News.
From grown-worthy dad jokes to patching up skinned knees, your one-of-a-kind dad deserves a Father's Day gift guaranteed to take him to his happy place, Omaha Steaks. Go to omahasteaks.com and order unconditionally guaranteed, mouth-watering gift packages starting at just $99. Use promo code QUALITY at checkout for an extra $10 off. Show your dad the love. Visit omahasteaks.com, code QUALITY at checkout for $10 off your order today.
Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-617-0239. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-617-0239. That's 800-617-0239. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio. From the Nashville Sports Radio Media Complex. Welcome back to the George Plaster Show. Call George now at 615-844-5600 and online at WNSR.com. And now, George Plaster.
Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown, Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Kelly Holcomb, along with Young Gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
And we welcome all of you into the 5 o'clock hour. I had somebody ask me earlier today, who is that voice at the end? That is the legendary public address voice of the Texas Rangers, Chuck Morgan. Chuck Morgan was once the voice of the Grand Ole Opry here in Nashville and gave me my first job out of college. Thus, I am indebted. I got to laugh as I'm thinking about this. We're about to have former Titans head coach Jeff Fisher on with us. Gosh, who knows how many times I've interviewed Jeff over the years, but never once have I said to him, "Hello, Commissioner." So, Commissioner, hello, how are you?
Oh, George, I love you. You know, it's so funny, right when people still to this day are saying, "Oh, congratulations," and I'm going, how about some condolences here? But no, it's actually, I appreciate it. I'm having a blast. Yeah, I didn't, as you know, we've talked about this little fun venture that we got into, 8 or 10 months ago here, bringing the cats back, and never did I expect something, like this to materialize. But I think you know me well enough that, if I see a problem, I'm going to try to do my best to fix it. And so that's what we're doing. We're trying to keep this thing afloat, which I think we've done a really good job over the last month, and heading in the last 3 weeks of the season and into a playoff scenario, and then we'll get it all straightened out for next year. But it's been kind of an interesting, fun ride. I will tell you this: there's great people out there. The ownerships, there's 9 teams left that are currently competing, and those teams, there's 3 or 4 teams that just couldn't do it because of the commitments that were made to them that weren't kept. And so, but the motivation is exactly what I saw when we opened here. What I saw last week in Billings, I met the Cats there and had both hats on, but got to watch that game closely. And from start to finish, it's about the kids that are coming with their folks, and it's about the entertainment, and it's about the players. And everybody should walk in the building, the venue, looking forward to coming to the event, and when they leave, they want to come back to the next one. And so we just got a lot of work to do, but we're getting there one step at a time.
Jeff, kind of tell people a little bit about what kind of stuff that you're having to walk in and try to fix.
Well, most of them are, I would say, financial in nature. And so it was not my understudy in college. But basically, when you go into a set of circumstances, a situation with one understanding, and then it ends up, as the season is upon you, you realize that none of those things were true, then you've got to adjust. And so it's been an adjustment everywhere you look, every turn you make, there's people adjusting. And so just trying to assist them with that. I think it's an experience thing, and you walk through it with me more so in my first thing here, the venture where we moved the first franchise from Houston to here. And then, I did it again. And I think I have some experience in that, you're able to determine what happens when you turn right. And, you're anticipating the pothole and nobody else is, but you want to make sure they know it's there so they don't run over it. So it's just kind of anticipating those unintended consequences and of decisions that were made at that point and they're made now. But it's really been a cool experience for me because there's been great people in this sport, the indoor football sport, for 30, 40 years. And a lot of people in some notable positions with NFL clubs and league offices and things like that got their start in indoor football. And so it's been fun for me. It's been a learning experience for me. I can't sit here and tell you I'm an expert on the rules, but I can tell you I watched, not in person, but live. I watched live 11 points scored in 11 seconds in a game. Now, that's hard to do, but in indoor, it's not. And that's what makes it so exciting.
Jeff, you know where I'm broadcasting from out in Bellevue, which is a stone's throw from where you learned how to major in damage control. So you've walked in.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, if anybody knows damage control, it's you. Tell me, the first thing I guess you want to get out there is that there will be a postseason to this league. Do you have it pinned down yet?
Well, when you say pinned down, we got. Is that you, George? Am I hearing that, or what's going on there? Are we good?
We're good.
Okay, I just had some static. When you say pinned down, the way we know what we think of pinned down, no, not yet, but very, very close and very, very optimistic about what that's going to look like. I can tell you there's going to be 5 teams involved. I can tell you that 5's going to play 4 in a play-in game. And then we're then going to have basically 2 games, championship-type games, and then a bowl. And it's all going to be done in the month of July. So as we're going to have announcements probably Tuesday on all the details. We're still yet to work out a few of the finer points, but yeah, it's going to be everything that I think people going in would have expected out of this league, and one can only imagine how much different it's going to be next year. But yeah, there's going to be some playoffs, and the Cats have an outside shot. They've got to win, and they need some help.
How many teams would you like to see in this league next year?
George, it's interesting. There's the potential that there'll be 2 divisions. Maybe there's so many clubs out there that want to get in that are, either in competing in other leagues or that are established, are funded, and they're just waiting. So there's a chance there could be two different leagues, an A league and a B league, if you would, with somewhere, upwards of maybe 12 to 14 teams in each league. So there's a lot going on, and we're still in those stages right now, where we're just kind of assessing and evaluating and putting operation agreements together and franchise agreements together and so on and so forth. And and then of course you got to make sure you got the right officials going and keep the officials going through the playoffs. So there's just a lot of balls in the air right now.
Yeah. Here's what I think I know, and I want to see what you think about this. I'm convinced there is a market for this. I think people enjoy it. I watched it the first go around in Nashville years ago be incredibly popular. Admittedly, there wasn't as much competition, but I'm convinced there's a market for this stuff, and I gather you do too.
Well, yeah, there's definitely a market. The market's there. It was just missed. But there's definitely a market out there. I'll give you an example. This last weekend, we traveled to Billings, and I've got some friends and many friends in Montana, and got some close friends and some relatives come to their first indoor game, and they're still talking about a week later. And they had so much fun. And they just couldn't imagine just the speed and the excitement and the quickness and the scoring and, everything. And so there's keep in mind, there's a generation out there that hasn't been exposed to much, of it. And it really is fun if the entertainment and everything is done properly and, it's integrated into, because all the communities are different, and the cities and the towns across the country where most of these other franchises reside, Wichita, Kansas, and so on, and Odessa, Texas. And, this is the only game in town, and they're passionate about it. And so their demographics are different, but there's plenty of of potential, and there are franchises in the bigger cities, and so they're just waiting to get into the appropriate league that's well funded and that give them a chance to come in and make some money. So yeah, it's I think there's a real bright future ahead in the aspect and the issues with respect to indoor arena football.
You may not know the answer to this, but do you want to be commissioner long term?
I like the way you preface the question. So I'm just trying to help right now. Okay. I love helping. George, you and I have talked about, I helped Bill Polian and Charlie Ebersol and the Alliance of American Football. Didn't coach. I did get in for a year in the USFL because of my friends at Fox. But I love that. I love the game, and I love. And the bottom line is this. I mean, and you referenced Bellevue, but that's where we started here in Tennessee. Is right where you're sitting rather, and that start is amazing. It wasn't easy, but for such a long period of my life, Nashville just blessed me and my family beyond imagination. And I want to be able to give back. And so that's why, I got involved in the Cats. And so that's kind of how I'm wired, just trying to help and want to be able to give back to Nashville however I can.
No, I'm living proof of it because I came out to those beautiful trailers that you worked in. That first time you saw that facility, what did you think?
Well, considering when I got there, the field hadn't been planted yet. I can't remember if we sodded it, but we only had one field, and there was no irrigation. Imagine that, a field out in Bellevue without irrigation. So what that's going to look like after a couple of days of practice. I remember there was a company, I don't know if they still exist, but It was called Critter Ritter, and we had to call them because we had to needed our assistance in removal of a family of skunks underneath the steps walking in to our trailers. So, the experience was. I mean, I look back. It's a book in itself. We haven't started writing it yet, but there was so many things that happened out there over that experience and stories, and you and I have covered pretty much of them over the years.
Well, you know what? Honestly, what it could be. You've seen the deal on NFL Network where they do the hour called A Football Life. Man, there ought to be one on you, because you could take them through some stuff. They'd be like, "Are you serious?"
Oh yeah, they have no idea. I mean, one of my all-time favorite stories was we were getting ready for an October game, and there was some weather coming, and we didn't have the technology, particularly because Mr. Adams took the DirecTV satellite dish that we were supposed to have at the facility to record other games in the league, and he decided he wanted it at his house in Houston. So we didn't have access to the dish or to the games in the league. So I went around the corner there, and there was a little sports bar there, and I had him tape one of the games. And we were actually, this game was, this was a Cincinnati and the Jets, I think. And Boomer had just come back. And we didn't know whether Boomer's running a no huddle or not, and hurry up. And of course, we didn't have anybody to go out and advance the game. So I asked them to record the game. And so I went for a jog, went over there, got the tape. And as I was leaving the sports bar, there was a tornado warning. It was a late season rare afternoon. And so I just climbed the fence and with the tape and ran into the building. When I got there, waving the tape, like, who was it? The movie actor, Martin, and the new phone book's here. You know, remember that scene where he comes running in, Steve Martin comes running in, the jerk, and he's holding the new phone book because he got it out of the, I felt like I was running in with a phone book and there was nobody there. They were all taking cover in the other end of the brick building because of the tornado warning. And I went, this is the NFL. But I did get the tape. We looked at the game. He did hurry up. And then that next week, Corey Dillon had the rookie rushing record against Greg Williams' defense. So, on
a Thursday
there
night.
There were those stories. That's right.
We'll end this. I've got a group of young interns that have never heard this that are sitting here into a listening audience. Jeff had some level of magical power over radars. And so 3 years after they got to town, Jeff created the Jeff Fisher and Friends Celebrity Softball Game. And he asked me, will you broadcast from it? And it was at Old Greer Stadium. And we're doing the show from the press box in this particular year. And it doesn't look good at all. There is weather coming. And I'm warning Jeff, I don't know how this is going to happen. And Jeff keeps giving me, you let me worry about it. And damn if that system, half of it went up toward Kentucky. The other half went down toward Alabama. He parted the Red Sea. How'd you pull that off?
I never thought you would ask me this, George. So I'm going to tell you the truth.
Okay.
It's the odds. You got a 50-50 odds it's going to hit you or not. I just played the odds. And when it didn't hit us, I act like a weatherman that had inside information. But no, I was always that guy with it. Is it half full or half empty? If you don't want it to rain, it's not going to rain, man. That's how you got to take that approach. But no, I actually looked at it a little closer. I followed the weather patterns. I knew.
I know you did. I kept going to Rick Regent saying, he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's coming this way. Jeff, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on with us.
Thank you so much. Everybody have a great Father's Day weekend. And God bless everybody. Thanks,
Commissioner,
George.
have a good weekend. See ya.
I like the way that sounds. See ya.
See ya. So, there's a lot of memories going back right across the street to that trailer. And I remember telling Willie Donick, I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but eventually this is the NFL. And at some point, it'll start to feel like it. I've said this before, and I will say it again. Jeff's caught a lot of crap over the years. A lot of it's this new 8-8 thing. But I'm here to tell you that if he had not been the coach at the beginning, I'm not sure we'd have pro football here right now, because what they went through in that first year and a half, I don't know many coaches that could have handled it. So when I say he's majored in damage control, he absolutely has. We'll go to the break. In about 10 minutes, we'll open up the phones. 615-844-5600. That's our number. Again, 615-844-5600. Whatever you want to get into, we'll get into it. But I'll also throw this out. I want every last one of you to answer this question. Will Tennessee win the College World Series? It's that simple. Yes or no? We're back in a moment. You're listening to the George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, you need to call Bart Durham. And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5688. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. TennesseeSportsHallOfFamer.com.
Do you ever feel like gambling is causing financial strain or hurting your relationships? The Gambling Clinic has been helping people who want to change their gambling habits for over 2 decades. With physical clinics and remote online appointments, we're here to help you make informed decisions about your gambling so it doesn't lead to a bigger problem. Visit us at thegamblingclinic.com so we can work together to help you win your life back. This project is funded by the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
Here's Stan Harrison for Apple Collision Centers.
Hello, George. We at Apple Collision Centers understand the stress that auto body repair process can put in your day-to-day lives. We at Apple Collision Centers, we have 3 convenient locations, Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin, ready to serve you. You can stop by and get an estimate, or you can get one online at www.applecollisioncenters.com.
We are back. We're probably about 5-6 minutes away from going to the phones. I'm looking for 3 red-blooded Americans who want to talk some sports at 615-844-5600. I want to help out a fellow Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer, Devin O'Day. A lot of you remember her over the years. Inducted right at a year ago right now, and she's got a charity event that she wants to let you know about. Devin, first of all, thanks for coming on with us.
George, it is such an honor to be on with you. Thank you so much for having me. And this is sports in a different way. I mean, you might not be familiar with the Mustang Heritage Foundation, but we're having an amazing show June 20th through the 23rd at the Williamson County Ag Expo Park. The Mustang Heritage Spectacular will have an extreme Mustang makeover, a celebrity Mustang freestyle challenge, and an open show. And we've got a former Olympian competing.
Oh, tell me about it.
Well, her name is Alyssa Wallace. She was a hunter, jumper, and endurance rider, and she started adopting Mustangs, and she'll take these little Mustangs and they literally will be smaller than any other horse there, leaping over these huge jumps. And she said they can do anything another horse does because they have more heart than any other horse she's ever worked with. And nothing in the weather stops them because they're wild horses. They've been through everything. So we've got that. We've got a man named Dan James who literally just went down to Patagonia, and he and Elliot Holtzman competed in an extreme race in Patagonia with horses. He's going to be with his Mustangs in the ring, and it's unbelievable. Ginger Duke, one of the most premier trick riders in the world, will be there. And then there's Bobby Kerr. I love it because every one of our riders has overcome something amazing, including Bobby Kerr, who's a cancer survivor. He'll be out there, and he teaches his horses. They jump through fire, and they sit in beanbag chairs in the back of his truck as he drives out. It's the craziest thing you ever seen, George.
So tell me how somebody can get involved in this.
Well, you go to MustangHeritageFoundation.org, and you can get your advance tickets, or you just show up. We're going to be at the Williamson County Ag Expo Center from next Thursday through Sunday. And the coolest thing, if you like to shop, now I know, George, I'm sure that you just love to shop.
That was pretty funny.
I know. I'm not a big shopper either, but there are some things in there you and I would like. One of my favorite things, there's even a hydration booth there. I love to go and get those Myers pushes and good vitamin things. So, sometimes we need a little help. We've got a booth that does that, but we've got food and we've got vendors, and no 2 vendors are selling the same thing. That's the cool thing. 100 vendors, all selling different things. And all that is at Ag Expo Park in Williamson County. It's going to be so much fun next week starting Thursday.
Okay, give me the dates again. Thursday through when?
Sunday, Thursday through Sunday. Starts at 9 o'clock on Thursday morning. And you can get a weekend pass for only $50. And that takes you through every single day, every event. There are some other things. There's some VIP parties and some other things. But before everything starts, I do want a little shout out to Music for Mustangs. I'm going to have a music thing for you.
Absolutely.
And Tuesday night, On the 18th, we are going to be at the Texas Troubadour Theater. Hit songwriter and singer-artist Skip Ewing headlines a star-studded cast of singer-songwriters, artists like John Barry and William Lee Golden and the Goldens and Twitty and Lynn, a whole lot of folks. And that's Tuesday night, the 18th, at the Texas Troubadour Theater, 6:30. You can go to Eventbrite and get your tickets.
Beautiful. Okay, Hall of Famer, thank you for taking the time to come on here. I hope your induction night was as much fun as mine was.
You know, George, fellow Hall of Famer, I'm so glad that we are in this class together. It was the honor of my lifetime to be a part of that, and it was so sweet of you to come up. It meant the world that you came up and shook my hand, and it really meant the world to me. Thank you, George.
I was proud for you and happy. Listen, thank you for doing this. Have a good weekend.
All right. Thank you, my dear. Take care. Bye-bye.
Devin O'Day, Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer, inducted a year ago at the ceremony in Columbia, Tennessee. I think I know that we've got one call on the line and looking for more at 615-844-5600. Jerry and Madison, get us started.
Hey, George.
Hey, Jerry.
Hey, I'm a big Billy Derrick fan, so I hate he's not there right now. But I've got a hypothetical question for you.
Yeah, let's hear it.
And I'll let you pick the league too. If you're named the commissioner of a league of your choice, I want to know what's on your agenda for your first 100 days in office.
Major League Baseball, I think, would be the league. Yeah, that'd be the league I'd want to be the commissioner of. I think the first thing I would do, since they've eliminated the shift, they got that done for me, and they put the pitch clock in for me. I think the next thing I would do is basically steal what the minor leagues are doing right now, as far as the ability to challenge balls and strikes. I'd probably give them 2 a game. I would not get rid of umpires. Umpires under my commissionership would be there until the end, until the end of time. The other thing I would do is get the A's the hell out of that Coliseum.
That sounds pretty good. I don't know if you have any broadcast blackout sort of rules.
Oh, my God, I didn't. Oh, thank you for reminding me of that. That would be the first thing. This stupid blackout deal is absurd. Thank you for reminding me of that. We would that would happen on day one.
Yeah, that never made sense. I'm a huge baseball fan, but I never watch MLB because I can barely get any games on. So that's never made sense to me why the MLB does that.
Oh, it's stupid. It's counterproductive. Hey, thank you. First 100 days as a commissioner. That's pretty humorous.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I love it. Great question. Okay, I'm looking. Let me look at the call screen, and let's see what we've got there. Looks like we've got a couple that are open. 615-844-5600. Let's go to Fairview. Tony, are you there?
I am, George. And first of all, my fear is that I've seen this movie before. Tennessee is going to get just close enough to break everybody's hearts. I don't know that they're going to pull it out, but that kind of leads into my question. Everybody's seen, Tony Vitello and all the his rant he had with the media this past week. Do you think at some point that affects the team and it draws away from what's going on the field? Having that vocal of a coach in the college football kind of media circuit.
You want the honest answer on it and don't go anywhere? Those kids went up to a dorm and had a good laugh over it. Now, I say that. I don't know if their dorms are still open because I guess school is over. But you get what I'm saying. Away from him, they probably all had a good laugh about it. Does it have any lasting effect? They're college kids. I don't think they care one way or the other. They're having a blast on 2 fronts. Number 1, they're winning, make it 3 fronts. Number 2, they're in Omaha, which is an incredible deal. And number 3, none of them are having to go to class. No attendance, no nothing. I mean, this is This is the experience of a lifetime. Now, the one thing I will tell you that can be a factor is because they play every other day, and I'm basically getting this from some of the Vanderbilt players about 10 years ago, that there really was kind of a boredom factor where you'd play a game one day, then the next day, what do? Do you go to the park and watch a game? You know, you practice, you get batting practice. It can get a little boring after a while. And the longer you go, the more boredom there likely is. So just thought I'd share that.
Well, you talk about the missing classes. I mean, earlier, obviously, it came up about moving it back to try and get more viewership, more exposure for the northern teams. At some point, does that kind of affect the kids that they're missing their entire summer to play baseball? They're not spending any time off. It's just school for them.
You know, I don't know. I don't know if I really know the answer to that. I know where it would be for me because I majored in summer school. That was supposed to be a joke. I thought it was pretty funny, Billy.
I liked it too.
Yeah. You know, are they missing some June stuff? I guess. I don't know. If I had the choice between summer school and Omaha, bring on Nebraska.
I think it's a pretty easy choice for most of those guys, too.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for the call.
Of course. Yes, sir.
Okay, let me look at that call screen real quickly. I know we got to go to a break in a minute. I'll go with Jimmy in the Green Hills area to get it started, but here's what I need. I need 2 more red-blooded Americans who want to talk some sports. 615-844-5600. I don't care what it is as long as it's sports. Jump in. We'll have more fun when we come back as you listen to the George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM. As you might be able to tell, my buddy Stan Harrison, he's an Alabama Crimson Tide fan, but he's actually here to talk about Apple Collision Centers.
Hello, Middle Tennessee. I'm Stan Harrison, CEO of Apple Collision Centers, and we understand the stress it causes in having an automobile accident. We can help you ease the stress of the auto body repair process at our 3 locations. We're conveniently located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. We've got rental cars available, we have PDR technicians available, and we have windshield technicians available. Please stop by one of our places and see us if you need our services.
And by the way, when you come in his office, this just in, he's a sports fan.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com. Company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
And now, Kingdom Doors is proudly saluting the brave men and women in blue who work tirelessly to protect and serve our communities, especially our police and sheriffs. This message is brought to you by Kingdom Doors. For custom garage door installations, service, and repairs, give the pros a call today at 615-810-6415, 615-810-6415, or visit kingdom-doors.com. That's Kingdom Doors. They're professionals who care.
Here's Stan Harrison for Apple Collision Centers.
Hello, George. We at Apple Collision Centers understand the stress that auto body repair process can put in your day-to-day lives. We at Apple Collision Centers, we have 3 convenient locations, Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin, ready to serve you. You can stop by and get an estimate, or you can get one online at www.applecollisioncenters.com.
Well, we are about 20 minutes away from Tennessee's opener in the College World Series against Florida State. It's on, I don't know, it's either ESPN or ESPN2. And we're about 40 minutes away from the Braves and the Tampa Bay Rays down at Truist Park. Billy Derrick is down there. Let's go right to him. Billy, how are you? Hello, Billy, are you there?
I'm there. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. So, big crowd gathered?
So I'm not actually. We're about to head out there now. We're staying about 5 minutes from Truist, so we're about to make our way out there. But I'm excited because it's really only my second time at Truist. The first time we went down there, I guess, a couple of years ago, George. But I'm interested to see, because are the Braves able to get back home and get their mojo back, right? Because Danny mentioned that, they got back on track yesterday, and, I know it's just one game, but you do have Chris Sale on the mound tonight, and the Rays aren't a very good team. So I'm looking forward to the Braves getting back on track, and maybe they're able to at least get a series win this weekend. But I think having Sale on the mound tonight, George, and having the home crowd behind them should be a good push. I mean, would you agree? Because a lot of times getting back home, it was a long road trip. A lot of times getting back home can be good for a ball club, and I'm hoping that happens with the Braves this weekend.
No, we're both hoping that happens because they've got a long road to climb, whether it's to a division title or simply stabilizing, where come October they are a legitimate World Series contender. All I can tell you is this: you better get in the car. I've dealt with that traffic. You're not going to get there with any time to spare.
No, you're probably right. We're going to the game tomorrow too, so I think we're gonna probably shoot to get there earlier tomorrow. But I do have a question. How about this North Carolina team? Because Vance Honeycutt walked it off again today, and I'm sure you guys were keeping up with that.
We were.
That's something that you have to keep into account because you have a team like North Carolina that's really hot coming into the tournament, and you can't forget about that because we've seen Vanderbilt teams before that are playing well and are hot, and they just keep playing hot. And Omaha, you can ride that wave. So I know you guys are watching that, but George, I like that North Carolina team a lot. Now, if Tennessee wins tonight, they have to face them, but I think that's a really good sign. This tournament's going to be really fun.
And they're used to being there over the years, going back way before Jacob Stallings.
George, I didn't realize 06, 07, they went back to back. They were in the finals, lost to Oregon State back to back.
They're used to being there. They're one of those programs, I guess you'd call it a baseball blue blood. Either way, Billy, you better find a good fan tonight because it'll be warm.
I know, it'll be even warmer tomorrow. I think we're about to head out, but I'm happy I was able to check in, and I've been watching. Billy's been doing a great job, so keep it up.
He has. You don't have a job anymore. I don't know how to tell you.
I'll see you Monday.
See you Monday.
See you.
Billy Derrick reporting live from a hotel in Atlanta near you. So let's try Jimmy in Green Hills. Jimmy, are you there?
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Hope you are.
Yeah. The answer to the first question, does Tennessee have a chance? I say no. I am sticking with a team that has blue in their colors. I like Florida because they've gotten hot at the right time. I like Kentucky. I think their game fits Omaha. And then I like North Carolina because they're just finding ways to win.
I like North Carolina better than I do Florida. Florida, to me, is Caglione, and this park neutralizes him huge. Now, maybe they end up playing and the wind's blowing out because those are not man-made obstacles. Only the man above knows that one for sure. And, Florida, I mean, they've been an amazing story. I'm sitting here thinking, who am I to say they can't win it when Ole Miss was the last team in a few years ago and yet won the whole thing? So who am I to put that out there?
Yeah. And then my second question is, do you think Denver would have been a better matchup and a better series than the Mavericks are showing for them?
Probably because Denver was used to being there. It's a shame that Luka, what went on a couple of nights ago, has diminished badly what he's accomplished in the last month and a half, because he's had a remarkable run, and I look for him tonight to try to go off and make everybody's last thoughts be of his greatness and not of him complaining about officials. That said, I really wonder if Dallas is dying to go back to Boston, because let's face it, the odds of them forcing a game 6, if they were to win tonight, the odds aren't very good that they would ever come back to Dallas for game 6. And the easy way out is to play good, lose close, and have everybody pat you on the back while the Celtics are celebrating.
Yeah, I think it just depends on Kyrie and his attitude, Like, I think it reflects a lot on him being traded as playing his former team. Like, the only guy that really has a ring that was worth something in that locker room that contributed. So I think it's going to be his attitude and helping the team out. I mean, he has not played well this series. I think it's going to have a lot to do with him.
No, and the shame of this is we're getting 2 dud series. Right as we ought to be getting to the really fun part, a game 4, a game 5, a game 6. We're not sniffing any of that in either the NBA or the NHL. And I would think the ratings tonight will be down from what they normally would be if this series was 2-1 or whatever. But 0-3, I look for the ratings to take a big dip tonight.
Yeah, I don't see too many people getting excited to tune in for this game. I think it's just like they're expecting the series to be over. Now that it's 3-0, no one's come back from it. I don't see a lot of people tuning in tonight.
If you watch tonight, you really got to love it.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for your call. Let me try Jeffrey over in Smyrna listening on 107.9. Jeffrey, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am here. How's everyone doing?
We're good. What's on your mind?
So answer that first question, right? Can Tennessee win the College World Series? Absolutely.
Well,
They
of course
absolutely
they can, but the question is,
but they will
will
not.
they?
But they will not. They will not, because I'm really liking the way, like the last caller said, North Carolina is playing baseball right now. It is. They win close. They win close at the very end of the game. I believe that was their third or fourth now walk-off of the tournament so far. So that's kind of crazy. My question actually is, do you think, we talked about earlier in the show that SEC, ACC, 4 from each conference, is that good for the game for college baseball? And second to that, how do you fix the Big Ten and the teams out west right now? Thanks for taking my call.
Hold on. Let me go one at a time on this. The answer to the first one is absolutely not. It's not good for the game. It's a little bit like when Alabama and Georgia have met in the national title, or Alabama LSU in whenever it was, 11 or 12. And you get a lot of the country that's totally disinterested. Under the question of what do you do to make it better, to me, this is weather related. I mean, the Big Ten didn't suddenly, become devoid of decent baseball athletes. In some cases, they don't want to play in that weather, and you can't blame them. So some of them migrate south. The ones that do stay, they can't get in any rhythm because they're half frozen to death until around May 1st. I don't know what the answer is on the Big Ten part, other than to move the season back where the important stuff is in better weather. I don't pretend to know out west. That's embarrassing that nobody really came all that close. I guess Oregon was the closest, but either way, it's not a good sign.
I agree with you. Just because we saw Michigan in the CWS finals, I believe 2019 against Vanderbilt.
Against Vandy.
And they got hot. I mean, you remember they were down to that last strike or whatever, then the Kenny Chesney thing and all that. But I agree. I mean, the weather is a problem. I feel like if you can fix that, they have the athletes. I also feel like, with the Pac-12 disbanding or whatever, that also hurts the game because those kids out west aren't going to want to travel to, like you said, Ann Arbor, Michigan. That's just not, good for the game in my opinion. So I
got to stop you there because we are out of time. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for taking my call.
We'll go to our final break. You're listening to the George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour.
There aren't any cops around. After every game, we always have a few. It's no big deal.
It was just a few drinks. I'm good.
Hey, I can hold my liquor. I drink and drive all the time.
If you put away some drinks, put away your keys. Fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, a division of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank and Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank and Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Buyandtow.com. Get cash for junk cars. Do you have a vehicle that's become a problem? You can get cash in your hand today and your vehicle hauled away. They'll buy your vehicle no matter the condition, in your driveway, at your mechanic shop, or even on the side of the road. You can call them at 615-480-6473 or visit buyandtow.com. Get cash in your hand today and your vehicle hauled away. 615-480-6473, buyandtow.com. That's buyandtow.com.
Here's Stan Harrison for Apple Collision Centers.
Hello, George. We at Apple Collision Centers understand the stress that auto body repair process can put in your day-to-day lives. We at Apple Collision Centers, we have 3 convenient locations, Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin, ready to serve you. You can stop by and get an estimate, or you can get one online at www.applecollisioncenters.com.
It's time for Plaster's Bet of the Day, presented by Bart Durham Injury Law. Call them 615-242-900 or log on to bartdurham.com. Here are the results from this week.
Yeah, let's skip it.
All right. All right.
Thanks to Edmonton for nothing. Okay, I've got 3 picks tonight. Actually over the weekend. Here we go. Look, I'm not going to complicate this. Until Dallas shows me something that they haven't shown me, I'm going Celtics. By the way, the line basically is now a pick 'em, which is a little hard for me to believe. Here are the other 2. I'm taking Kentucky tomorrow against NC State. I like their style in that ballpark. And 5 minutes from now, Big Orange. I think they're going to win against Florida State. You know what the music means. We are done. When we come back on Monday, we'll get into Tennessee's College World Series stuff, and then we're going to learn a little bit about the Texas-Oklahoma rivalry. Until then, happy Father's Day and have a great weekend.